Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech, we look ahead to Oklahoma State coming to town and a trap game awaiting the Red Raiders.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. And today's episode brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. With the only Chris Level, I'm Casey Cowan, dropping in for an on-the-fly edition as we're getting ready for Red Raider hoops this weekend. Chris, Texas Tech and Oklahoma State from United Supermarkets Arena. Red Raiders trying to keep the good times going at the USA after breaking through with a conference home win last time around. But a lot to get into regarding this matchup. The potential for it possibly to be a bit of a trap for Texas Tech. Could it be? We'll get into that, and also some crossover and familiarity between these two teams. Former Red Raider on the Oklahoma State roster we will discuss. But also wanted to just kind of get into the Sunday factor of this. Red Raider tip-off on a Sunday, not something we get frequently.
No, and I don't really understand why you're getting it here, but you are. So it's there's been one league game every Sunday that is been pulled out of the Saturday, group of games and then just dropped in there on a Sunday. I mean, I watched, a week ago, I watched TCU and Baylor play. I knew you were about to play both teams, and so I was just kind of curious. It's a high-level matchup. TCU ends up winning that game, but they stash these games on ESPN Plus. It's wildly confusing to me. Like, I don't understand why can't you play it on a Saturday? I mean, if it was on like network TV and you're filling up a spot, but you're putting it on ESPN Plus where you can just do whatever you want to with it. There's no rhyme or reason on what time it can start or whatever. And maybe there's something I don't know, but it just doesn't make any sense. I don't really grasp it. Look, you played A&M on a Sunday in Fort Worth with I guess back in December. That's just the way that event played out. And I think there's maybe a few other non-conference games you played over the years where it's been on a Sunday or whatever, just the way the calendar falls. I guess playing in a situation like this, I mean, if you win the first game in your NCAA tournament setup, if you play like on a Friday and and win, well, guess what? You're playing on a Sunday. But the conference game is weird. I think it's been since Bob Knight was around here that you played a conference game on a Sunday. I think I'm right there. I remember like it was like the Powell Storzinski era. Shout out to the Polish Prince.
You bet.
Yes. But it's been a minute now. And I will tell you, as it relates to, because like your game is going to go up directly against the Eagles and the Commanders on the NFL, right? Okay, the conference championship game and all that stuff. And it doesn't matter who would be playing in the NFL. Like, just more often than not, people aren't going to watch like any college basketball those days. You've got 3 football games left in this season, and then that's it. At that point, if you want to put games on Sundays, I mean, I would say give me 2 or 3 of them, because there's nothing, it's perfect. But next year, and I think I've mentioned this on this show, but like the way that the contract is written, you could get games on any of 7 days of the week. I've always been on this since I've been doing this. You play a game on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and then you play Saturday. Rinse and repeat. That's just what it looks like for 2 months, 2.5 months, with the exception of the Big 12 SEC Challenge, which gets dropped in there, which is always on a Saturday, or if you had a bye week mixed in there. But that's what it looks like. And now next year, it's not just a Sunday, but you could be playing on a Thursday or even a Friday, which is crazy to think about. So I don't know.
Yeah, something different. Not the end of the world, but something different.
No, just it is different. Yeah,
going head to head with the NFL, going to be a tough draw for anyone. But I got to say, as a Cowboys fan who's repulsed by this NFC Championship game matchup, I'm glad to have an alternative. Actually, I was going to go outside and just rake some leaves or find something to do in the neighborhood. As far as the matchup, Chris, you and I were talking about this off the air, and I swore I was picking up some trap game kind of vibes from you. Am I going too far, or you're sensing some danger here potentially for Tech in this setting?
Well, these are just like these next two games. Let's just be honest here. These next two games are games you're supposed to win. You will be favored to win. And if you do win it, you're like, okay, ho-hum, on to the next. No big deal. Whereas some of these road wins, you're like, you feel really good about it, and you feel like you did something. These games are just a bit scary. Yeah, this is all about taking care of your business. It's and then that's what kind of worries you a little bit. It's easy to get up for the Iowa State's rolling in here. It's easy to get up for Arizona, but what happens when Oklahoma State rolls in here with essentially like a 500 record overall, and they're close to last place in the Big 12 at 2-5, and all that stuff. I mean, that's where coaching comes into play. That's where your leadership comes into play. That's where, okay, boys, I take you back to no further than just this past weekend. What did West Virginia do? They had them storming the court. We've sold out. We are back, baby. Coach DeVries, like we upset the Clones. We did it. And then you turn right around and you just give it all back. Like pepperoni rolls get taken away from everybody, and it's like you go back to and you're the suck again. It's like Arizona State rolls in there, who's not great. And they come and they take all your toys, and like you get to play. I mean, so it's like that, but that's the Big 12. So this is a perfect example of like what you have to be leery of.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully we are leery enough to avoid such a thing. As far as the matchup goes, wanted to get to some things you see as far as standing out for the Red Raiders as being of great importance. And also there's some familiarity, right? We're going to see a face we recognize in that disgusting traffic cone orange. First, today's episode brought to you by GameTime. Whether it's sports, music, comedy, or beyond, we all love going to live events. And now GameTime has made it even easier to get tickets for your favorite events with their new feature, GameTime Picks. This feature trims all the fat to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You'll always find can't beat deals. Plus, the app's all-in pricing shows the total cost up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app today, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it? Game time. As far as the matchup goes, wanted to get to some things you see as far as standing out for the Red Raiders as being of great importance. And also there's some familiarity, right? We're going to see a face we recognize in that disgusting traffic cone orange.
Yeah, and the other night I tuned in to they were playing Arizona, and they had these actually it was pretty good looking grays on that, which I'd never seen before. But Oklahoma State will roll in here. They've got a brand new coach. Mike Boynton was there for 6 seasons, I guess, and it just kind of kept going and going and going. And Steve Lutz was hired. I think he's got a background similar to Grant in that he's a grinder. He's been an assistant for a lot of folks. A lot of them are in and around Texas. He's been at SFA. He's been at A&M Corpus Christi as the head coach. But his last gig obviously was at Western Kentucky, and obviously did well there. He got a late start. That's their problem right now. Is I think that he got the job on April the 1st, and then by then it's like so much of what's out there has been sorted through and all that. Hence the reason that, speaking of that West Virginia team I just talked about, I mean, Javon Small, he had already like pieced out and was like, yeah, man, they're going to hire a new coach. I'm out. And now he's like an all conference type player for West Virginia, so because the West Virginia folks, they were a little bit further ahead with their coaching hire and all that stuff. Robert Jennings is who you're talking about. He played a lot of post minutes for you. He's playing so he got in the portal and he went to Oklahoma State. He's a starter for them, but there's kind of like a Kerwin Walton type component there where he's probably playing the fewest minutes of any of the other starters, and he's averaging about, 7-3 or 6-3, something like that, as far as points and rebounds. And he's a great kid. I mean, but he's he's a tweener. Bryce Thompson is the one holdover. That's the guy that they'll lean on a lot. Now, here's another interesting name to mention to you, because we won't know this name. However, Grant and pretty much everybody next to him that's wearing a quarter zip on Sunday will, and his name is Abou Ousmane. Okay, he's their starting center. He is their leading scorer. He played for Grant for 2 years. And right before that little NIT run, Abou and the North Texas basketball program kind of decided to part ways. Mutual parting of the ways. You can go Google this, and it's out there and all that stuff. But that's and he played at Xavier last year, and now he's at Oklahoma State, and Grant and all staff very, very familiar. So that's and he's one of their better players. I mean, I think he put up 27 points when they beat Kansas State. So this is somebody that's going to factor in. He's like 6'10", 240. So, yeah, we'll see what you get. It could be ugly, but I would say the biggest key for the Red Raiders on Sunday is start fast. You don't want to give these guys any hope. You don't want to get caught slipping. I would say start fast, create some doubt, and just be sharp because these games are easy to get lulled into. Oh man, I'm been on traveling and we've got some of these wins. Now we got a team that's not really playing for much, or they're kind of out of it. And you breathe just a bit, and that's when you make news for the wrong reasons. So that's what these games are. And TCU game will be the same way. Yeah. Sunday at 2, Wednesday at 6. You don't have day and time on your side necessarily either, which leads to juiced up home atmosphere either.
And you're into the confines that haven't been all that friendly to you through conference play so far. Although, again, we mentioned you did break that seal. So hopefully we keep the winning going on at United Supermarkets Arena with 2 opportunities coming up. Chris, appreciate a little extra time to get ready for Red Raiders and Cowboys. Enjoy the ball game, and we'll visit on the other side.
Yes, keep hope alive, everybody. Hope to see you out there for some matinee hoops on a Sunday. Yeah, a Sunday. We said it. And hope everybody enjoys the weekend, enjoys the game if you are there. And we will talk to everybody next time, hopefully breaking down a Red Raider victory. But, again, hope's not a strategy, so we'll just do that. We'll just break down a victory for the Red Raiders when we return.
The day of the Lord, the day of monster truck rallies, and the day of this time around Red Raider basketball coming at you. Looking forward to it. For Chris, I'm Casey. Thanks as always for being out there. Get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. And we hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.